He was a lonely man who lived at the edge of a small town. No one knew much about him. He woke up early every morning and started his day quietly. He watered the small garden in front of his house. He fixed broken fences and cleaned the streets slowly and patiently. People passed by and saw him as ordinary, but no one knew what he was doing. Every day he walked through the town carrying small bags of food and supplies. He left them on doorsteps of families he knew were struggling. He never rang the bell. He never knocked. He only left the packages and walked away silently. He watched the children eat with smiles on their faces and felt a small warmth in his heart. He also helped the elderly with their daily chores. He carried firewood for them. He fixed their leaky roofs. He mended their broken chairs and tables. He never asked for thanks or recognition. He only wanted to make life a little easier for those around him. The man also planted small flowers and trees in forgotten corners of the town. He repaired benches in parks that no one used. He painted walls that had turned gray with time. He believed that small actions could make a town brighter and kinder. People began to notice changes in their surroundings. They saw flowers bloom where none had grown. They saw benches repaired and streets cleaner. They saw small surprises on their doorsteps and felt curiosity and gratitude. But they never knew who was behind it. All they knew was life seemed better somehow. He continued his daily routine for many years. His movements were slow but steady. His heart was full of hope and patience. He did not seek attention. He did not seek fame. He simply believed that kindness could spread quietly. One morning a young boy saw him carrying a bag of supplies. He asked him why he did it. The man smiled and said he wanted to make people happy. He said it did not matter who knew, it mattered that someone felt cared for. The boy nodded and watched him leave. The boy then started helping in small ways too. He cleaned the street in front of his house. He carried water for his neighbors. He left small gifts for people in need. Slowly other children joined in. The town began to change little by little. People started caring for each other. They planted flowers, they repaired benches, they helped neighbors. They learned kindness from the quiet man without even realizing it. The man continued his walks. He continued his small acts. He did not stop. Even when he grew older, his heart stayed full of hope and patience. His story remained quiet but powerful. He woke up early every morning as the sun began to rise, and he stretched slowly before heading outside to begin his daily routine. He walked down the empty streets carrying his small bag of food and supplies. He passed the same houses every day, observing the families inside. He noticed the mother struggling to carry groceries. He saw the old man sitting alone on the porch. He saw children laughing and playing, but also those who looked sad or hungry. He left small packages on doorsteps. He left notes of encouragement, written on simple pieces of paper. He never asked for recognition or thanks. He simply believed that small actions could make a difference in the lives of others. One day he saw a young woman struggling to care for her baby. She looked exhausted and worried. He quietly left a basket of food and baby supplies on her doorstep. He watched from a distance as she opened it and smiled, tears forming in her eyes. The next week he left firewood for an elderly couple whose home had no heat. They did not know who was helping them, but they felt comfort and relief. His actions continued quietly day after day. People in the town began to notice small changes without knowing the source of the kindness. They began helping each other. They cleaned the streets, they mended fences, they planted flowers and trees. They were inspired by an invisible force of goodness. The man walked through the parks. He repaired the benches. He painted the fences. He planted flowers in forgotten corners. He knew that beauty and kindness could lift the spirit of the town, even if no one knew who was responsible. Children began noticing his actions. They followed his example. They helped neighbors. They carried small gifts for those in need. They spread kindness just as he had shown them. The man smiled quietly, knowing that his small acts were creating ripples of change. He did not need applause or recognition. He only wanted the town to be better and the people to feel cared for. Every evening he returned home. He sat by his small window and watched the sun set. He thought about the families he had helped. He thought about the children who were learning kindness. He felt peace knowing that his life mattered in ways no one would ever know. He continued his quiet walks through the town every morning. He carried small bags of food and supplies, leaving them at doorsteps of families in need. No one knew his name, no one knew his story. But slowly the town began to change. People started noticing flowers blooming in forgotten corner streets, becoming cleaner benches being repaired, and small acts of kindness appearing everywhere. Children began to imitate him, helping neighbors, carrying groceries for the elderly, and sharing what little they had. The man watched silently from a distance, feeling joy in his heart, knowing that kindness could spread without words. Her hands trembled, and she could barely carry the bags. He placed his own bag on her cart and helped her walk to her door. She looked surprised and grateful, but he only nodded quietly and walked away. No words were spoken, no thanks were expected. It was a simple act, but it meant the world to her. The town slowly began to whisper about the mysterious man. They did not know his face or his name, but families felt cared for, children felt inspired, and strangers felt hope. He had become a silent hero whose actions changed lives without recognition. The impact of his small deeds would last for generations. He kept following the same path every day, moving slowly but never stopping. He noticed people beginning to greet each other more often. Neighbors who once stayed silent now smiled and talked. Children played together more freely. The town felt warmer, kinder, and more alive. He never told anyone what he was doing. He never explained why he helped. He believed that kindness should move on its own. Like the wind, it should be felt, not seen. One evening he noticed a small shop struggling. The owner sat outside looking tired and worried. The man returned later and cleaned the front of the shop. He fixed a loose sign and swept the sidewalk. The next morning customers stopped again. The shop stayed open. He watched from across the street and felt calm. As years passed, his hair turned gray. His steps slowed, but his heart stayed strong. The town did not know when the change began. They only knew life felt better. One day he did not walk the streets. People noticed the silence. Flowers were still there. Benches were still repaired. Kindness was still moving. They realized the town had learned something. It had learned to care. When you choose to help quietly, when you give without expecting thanks, you continue his story. If you feel inspired, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs hope.